Enough of the old school way. How was this problem resolved? And the answer is, drumroll, Ajax. And the problem of having to reload pages every time new content was fetched from a server. The way that problem was solved was by technologies allowing web pages to request smaller chunks of data like HTML or XML or JSON or even just plain text, and allowing these browsers to then only display that text or that resource or that data when needed. And how do we achieve this? What kind of technologies can we use? Well, we can use many APIs such as XML HTTP request. This is the heart of Ajax. This is where Ajax all began. We've got newer ones such as the Fetch API. And these techniques are known as using Ajax. And can you guess what Ajax stands for? I'll give you a clue. That's right, it stands for asynchronous, JavaScript, and XML. And as I just mentioned, originally it mainly used the XML HTTP request object to request XML data. Hence the word in Ajax, the X stands for XML. But these days, don't stress about XML because you're more likely to use the same object, the XML HTTP request object, or the Fetch API. Both of those, we're going to be using them to fetch JSON, not XML. XML is old school. But the result is still the same whether we fetch Ajax, HTML, JSON, or even plain text. And this is why the term Ajax has stuck around. But if you're anything like me, you probably want to see this visually. So let me try. Let me do my best. Here you've got your browser and your server, just like we had before. And in the middle, we've got this technology called Ajax. And how does this help us? Well, your browser now sends a request, but it doesn't send it to the server directly. It sends it via Ajax. Ajax then sends an HTTP request in the background. The server does its job, does its business, and then it sends an HTTP response, and then Ajax provides the data to the browser. But what is so awesome is that whole process of the HTTP request and the response. You guessed it, it happens in the background without us having to wait for page reloads. How awesome is that? But wait, there's more. To speed things up even further, most sites today also store assets and data on your own computer's hard drive, on your computer's database. And how does this work? Well, very simplistically at a high level, what happens is when you request a website for the very first time, a lot of those assets that are fetched from the server will be stored on your computer in a database. Meaning that next time you visit that same site, on subsequent visits, you are able to use local versions of the data instead of downloading fresh copies all the time. And it also means that content is only reloaded from the server when that data on the server has been updated. So how does this look? Well, your browser can now request data from a database. Your computer will then ask, does data need to be updated? Has data been updated on the server? If it hasn't, the simple solution is it can just send that data straight back to your browser. This results in a very fast load paging time. This is awesome. This is why on many sites you visit, it's almost instantaneous. Okay, but now say that the data does need to be updated. What's going to happen then? Well, the first check your computer has to do is, well, are you online or not? Let's say you're not online. Well, in that case, unfortunately, the database is just going to send you the data it has, and you're still going to be looking at outdated data. Cool, I think we've got that under wraps. What about now if your computer is online? The database is going to send a request to Ajax, to this technology piece sitting in the middle. Ajax will then send an HTTP request to the server. The server will do its business. It's going to send an HTTP response when it's ready. Ajax will store the data in the database, but now it's updated data, and that will be sent back to your browser. Whew, so I know the screen looks a bit funky right now. There's a lot on there, but I hope you're gaining an understanding of how this all works at a very high level at least. We're going to get into more detail shortly though, so bear with me.